Was Godzilla v King Kong a good film? Yeah, I would say so, you know. The reason I'm struggling to find any negatives about the film is that the film knows what it wants to be. It just wants to be Godzilla v King Kong. It just wants to show us the battle of these two titans. You can tell that was their clear objective. They wasn't really bothered about building these characters, nor really showing stuff about history and all that. They just wanted to put these two monsters up against each other. And I can't fault them for that, because one of the common problems with all the other MonsterVerse films was that the human characters were boring. No one really cared about that. We wanted to see the monsters, and this film acknowledges that. It takes that and it puts that on show, because the characters in this film were non-existent. They had no personalities. They were very one-dimensional. They served a purpose, and that was it. We didn't spend too much time with them, but we spent enough to know all of their motivations. So because of that, I'm just struggling. I didn't go into this film expecting anything more than Godzilla v King Kong. I wasn't expecting an intricate plot. I wasn't expecting no backstory, no history, no new revelations, no new characters. I knew what I was in there for, and because of that, I enjoyed myself a lot. I had so much fun with this movie, especially towards the latter half when stuff really started to get going. I was on the edge of my seat, I was hyped, I was shouting, I was animated, and it's like, yo. And on the other hand, I do understand the plot was not there, and yeah, I guess the film was kind of empty and stuff. It did like a lot of things, but I mean, it's like buying custard, you know? You buy custard and it says custard. You open it and it's custard inside. You can't be upset. The plot is fairly simple. Godzilla's angry. He's looking for something. He's attacking humans when he doesn't usually. No one knows why. On the other hand, there's this shady corporation and they want to get to the center of the earth so they can get some energy, and they need Kong to lead them there. That is it. That's the premise of the whole movie. That is it. They explain it a little bit, and I guess I understand the reasons for Apex for wanting to do that. But they've done the bare minimum needed to get the plot going, and then it just runs with it. They don't spend too long with characters, and that's another thing. The characters in here were bland and one-dimensional. But that's not a problem for me. I ain't coming for no characters. The little girl who could speak to Kong, you know, that added a little emotional weight to it. It was nice to see their relationship. The woman who looked after her, same, I didn't really care about her. Same with the guy that was on their team. He had a little heroic moment, but it was like, yeah, okay. The villains were generic. Bad guy wanted to do bad guy stuff. Although, I must admit, the leader of Apex, his reason and motivations were quite understandable. But look how the film went. He had no significance. He just had a few bad guy tropes for them to follow to let the audience know this guy is not a good guy. Millie Bobby Brown and the conspiracy theorists went off on their own little journey. That felt a little tacked on. Didn't really feel necessary. It just felt like a plot there to, I guess, have some human characters do something. And in the end, they were important, but they weren't that important. So it didn't take away from the monsters. And I guess the monsters in this film are highlighted much more. Not so much Godzilla, mainly Kong. I'll be honest, even though this is Godzilla v King Kong, this felt like a Kong movie. We followed him much more. We followed his story. We learned a bit more about him. And it just seemed to come from the perspective of Kong a lot more. And yeah, I was sitting there beginning the first part of the movie thinking, yo, I want to see the first beef. But this movie was an hour and 40 minutes, maybe hour 50 minutes. It went by very, very quick. And once stuff did get going, I was good. I was hooked. I was Gucci. The fight scenes and action scenes were epic. I really got a sense of scale, like, these lot are massive. I'm looking up and I'm thinking, rah. Because if I'm honest, right, Kong to me doesn't seem as big as Godzilla. When you see Kong by himself, maybe interacting with the little girl, he doesn't seem that big. And then when you see Godzilla walking and he's towering over buildings, you're like, whoa, he's massive. But when they're put next to each other, you realize, whoa, Kong is actually quite big. And I felt there was a bit of inconsistency there, I must admit. Kong did look small at some points. But other than that, like I said, the fight scenes were entertaining. The battle between the two was good. I had great elements. I like the fact that Godzilla was always shown as a little bit stronger and Kong the underdog. And he had to sort of like use a weapon. He had to use a bit more tactics to get the upper hand on Godzilla. And the conclusion of the fight is fine for me. It was perfectly fine. It felt within reason. The pacing of the film, like I said, was very, very quick. And I liked that. I enjoyed that. That felt better for me because we didn't spend too long in any place. We said what we had to say, done what we had to do. We moved on. We're gone on to the next part. And it made it flow fast. But like I said, for what the movie wants to be, totally appropriate. But yo, I want to know what world these men live in, because these men obviously have money. Like, one decision, alright, cool, we're taking Kong there. One decision, yo, a couple helicopters there. Another decision, yo, let's build this. And it's like, where you man getting the resources from? Like, this is mad. But the main question you really need to ask yourself is, What did you come to this movie expecting? That is it. Because your answer will determine whether you enjoyed this film or not. I came in expecting nothing but hands. Like I said, blood v Crips, Messi v Ronaldo, East Coast v West Coast, straight beef, El Clasico, warfare. That is it. And I was not disappointed. I was entertained. I was excited. And yo, I could watch this film again and again. So in conclusion, yes, I think Godzilla v King Kong was a good movie. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching as always. And Magan.
Nah, nowhere to be found. I'm missing Magan.